Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for participating. Thank you. Thank you. Again, we continued go teachings of the great master, Dunjun Longpam, the predecessor of Jabji Dunjun Rinpoche, or His Holiness Dunjun Jabrashi Dod. And we continue going through that teaching, through this teaching, and then now we continue on this. In the 7th chapter, or section 7, and the 7th section is kind of summarized in the Dzogchen teachings. And as said, the Dzogchen teaching is divided two famous techniques. Those are the Trikyu and the Togal teachings. Again, to continue to follow and to reflect the teaching, to absorb the teaching into the heart, and that is what we need to do, correcting, reactivating, re-strengthening our beautiful intentions. We all have the beautiful intentions. That's what we are here. It's nothing but else. That beautiful intention of joy, appreciations, and great gratitude and gratefulness. Those are beautiful attitudes. First. Second attitude is bodhicitta, thinking of all the sentient beings, living beings. In the teaching, often said that every master, every teacher, every teaching said, vastness motivation of the bodhicitta. Vastness, V-A-S-T, I think, N-E-S-S, vastness motivation of the bodhicitta. That means what? Our bodhicitta is not small, kind of secluded and cornered one. It's opened as like sky, opened as spaces, to home, to all the living beings. Living beings, numbers of the living beings. In the teaching, said there's no numbers. So many beings. In the teaching, said as far as space goes, that far all the living beings are existing. Living beings. As long as each of those living beings I have the emotions, karma, regardless what the form they have. Big, small, very small, whatever form. Everyone has emotions. Because of due to the emotion, creating the karma. Because of due to the emotion and karma, they're experiencing uncomfortable, struggling every time, every moment going through. Some are very big, some are little medium, some are little light. But nevertheless, everyone going through because of the negative emotions and the karma. Negative emotions, the karmas, are the fundamental cause to bring uncomfortable suffering. That's what gracious teacher Buddha said. Day one, his teaching said Four Noble Truth. I mean, we all know, we all heard that. That suffering truth, cause of suffering truth. Everyone is going through. When they go through that, of course, it's not comfortable, not pleasing, not happy, always struggling, challenge, hope and fear, constantly crashing. Therefore, deep, strong compassion, bodhicitta thought for all living beings, every living being, touched to living beings, may their all suffering, sadness completely stopped, freed. May they have always continually have great cause of joy and peace and happiness. Never have cause and conditions of the brain sad and sufferings. Really wishing that core of the heart. And actually, may my practice, my meditation, reflecting on the teaching of the gracious teacher Buddha Shakyamuni and Guru Pema Samba, directly benefited to all those beings. Immediately release the nightmare situation of the suffering, the difficulty, uprooted all those challenges, cause of challenges. Really wishing those things. That's what is known as vastness motivation of the bodhicitta. So our the object of the sentient beings, living beings are the vastness. Our motivation, intention is also no restrictions, no border, vastness. And therefore, in the teachings, the benefit is the vastness, is the benefit to all those beings, and also it benefits to ourselves. It will purify our obscurations, negativities, emotions. It will accumulate merit. So it will advance our enlightenment, our Buddhahood, to discover our inner nature. So this is really like win-win situations. It wins them, it wins ourselves. That's what in Bodhicitta. That's always. And then third one is having beautiful intention, thought, or brain realization of the Vajrayana teachings, or realizations, three Vajra states. Or in the Dzogchen teaching often said, three kayas. All is in three kaya status. Dharmakaya status, Sambhokaya status, Nirmakaya status. All the objects are in three kaya status, and the subject is a three kaya status. There is no difference between subject and the object. All is in three kaya status. Bring up those realizations, kind of those understandings. Bring up those. Those are known as the then correcting the motivations. Motivation is the key, and is the really, it will turn everything where we would like to go. And for that reason, great teacher Buddha Shakyamuni said, everything is follow with our motivation, good or the bad, or virtuous and unvirtuous virtues. Virtuous motivation bring good results to ourselves, to the others. And negative virtues, negative intention, thought will bring negative results to ourselves, one's own self, as well as others. So therefore, motivation is so crucial. That motivation is not outside, we all know that. It's our mind, your mind and my mind, how we try to turn. And who can do that? No one also do except ourselves, one's own self. We have every power and capability and opportunity to direct this motivation. Therefore, being as practitioners, be strong, and be strong, standing firmly on the beautiful ground where we are, and not let it fall apart, not let fall that in ditch, and then just bring up, really kind of move forward with courage and commitment, confidence, not let that spoiled by doubt and hesitation, skepticals, and all these and that different things. Keep continually flying and moving and advancing adventure. Those are what we needed. And with those understanding, now we're going through Dzogchen practices. We went through Dzogchen teachings, essential practice that we can do, really do that. And particularly the Trekchu teaching that we went. Trekchu and the Togas are both Dzogchen practices. Now I'm going to conclude the Trekchu practices. Trekchu practice, we went through quietly. We went with the first. We went through the foundation of Dzogchen. Then we went Wu, meditation and conduct. The essential point of that we can digest ourselves. We can handle that. We went through. And of course, many of you know already all that in a way, again, not in a way, I reminded to you and to myself. We reminded that. So now, we went through. We also, path, we went through that path of the Wu, as well as meditation and conduct. So that's really that. And again, Trekchu is the essence of practice. So all the practice of Buddha give the teachings. Everything. If we continually practice the Trekchu, we are not missing any other practices or any Buddha teachings. It's full practices. Dzogchen is a full practice. Dzogchen is therefore called Dzogchen, great completion teachings, great perfect teachings. Perfect. There's nothing is missing. The old techniques Buddha taught in many different levels of the teachings is included within the Dzogchen. When you practice it, it cuts the ego clinging, self-important. That is the essence of teaching of the Pondraja teaching, egolessness status. It cuts all the egos. And then when you practice Dzogchen, it brings the perfect realization of the emptiness. That is the essence of teaching of the Sutra Mahayana teachings. And when you practice Dzogchen, as we went yesterday, it will increasing and expanding, discovering the bodhicitta, the compassion for all the living beings without any discrimination. In the teaching said, when you practice Dzogchen, the sign of the realization is more compassion, more love, more kindness, more common sense, more thoughtful, more respect and appreciation comes together when we discover the Dzogchen practice or realizations. So that is the essence of the Sutra Mahayana teachings. Teaching. And then Vajrayana teaching. Dzogchen is the union of the skillful means and wisdoms, not missing anything from that. Essence of the Vajrayana practice, often teaching mentioned, is skillful means and wisdoms. Skillful means what? Again, compassion. Very strong compassion, deep compassion, infinite compassion. That infinite compassion is guided with wisdoms. Wisdom and compassion united together and taking care of all the neural thought of our own to the other beings. And then in the teaching said, all this Dzogchen teaching is the essence of the Mahamudras, essence of the Madhyamakas, essence of the Panchaparamita. Panchaparamita means Sanskrit word, which means supreme wisdoms. There's nothing higher wisdom than the Panchaparamita. When we got the realization of Dzogchen, discover the Rupa, there's nothing higher wisdom than that. This is called self-born innate wisdoms we discover. When we got the Madhyamaka, what means Madhyamaka? Sanskrit word, free from all the extremes. Realization of Dzogchen, it frees every extreme notions. And so we are the center of the Madhyamaka teachings too. Dzogchen is. Then the Dzogchen teaching said, also, but there's another practice, famous practice, called the Chu practices. Chu, cutting Chu practice. Chu is quite famous, well known. What means Chu practice? Cutting ego clinging, cutting grasping. Dzogchen is the most powerful cutting practices. There's nothing hard, duality conceptions. So that way, all the Chu practices, Madhyamaka and Panchaparamita teaching is completed within the Dzogchen. And the Dzogchen is the essence of the Mahamudra too. Teaching said that. Because when you got the realization of the awareness, Rupa realizations, this is not one corner side, one side of the nature. The pervasive nature, everything, transcendented in a three-kaya state or discovered in a three-kaya status. So that means Mahamudra in the Sanskrit, Mahamudra is translated into English etiquette. Big sail, big B-I-G, S-E-A-L, sail, big sail. What that means? The great emptiness is like big sail that sailed everything. There's nothing is missing out of the great emptiness. That is the metaphor meaning of the Mahamudra. Dzogchen is great union of the emptiness and the appearance. There's nothing higher. But what is Dzogchen as? That it is powerful method, sharp and quick method, discover the innate nature so quickly. We have the courage, commitment, confidence, and the devotion, joyful effort to keep up that, really discover it so fast. So therefore, Dzogchen meditation or the Trekking meditation is the essence of that. Therefore, in the teaching often it said, have with confidence, have the confidence on the will, keep continued practices. And then we will transcend everything into enlightened status, as it is already. Already is. So that is kind of really about the Trekking practices. Now we go a little bit over Toggle practices. And I'm going to go a little bit, on the kind of essence of Toga practices. Toga practice. First, what means Toga practices? I mentioned many times, and of course you all know. You all know Toga meaning, word meanings. And I translated leaping over practices. And some other great translators translated crossing over. Crossing overs. So CROSS, I believe, crossing overs. So, and then also leaping over, jumping over. So those are, I'm also translated kind of leaping over. That is the other great translators translated crossing over. So whichever use, but what means that instantly from the world of samsara, instantly we are transferring to the enlightenment status. Enlightenment status. Enlightenment state is what? Kayas and the wisdoms. Those are the teaching mentioned. Many of you know what means kaya. Kaya means all enlightened forms. And wisdom is all enlightenment, wisdom, intelligence. That means really essence of that, all the richness of enlightenment. According to Vajrayana teaching and the Buddha Mahayana teaching, enlightenment, when you reach enlightenment, there is nothing is shortage. Everything is perfect, everything is there. All the luxurious atoms, luxurious of the visual luxurious, vision or the eye luxurious, eye object, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mental, everything is enlightened status. What is the difference in the samsara luxurious is always shortages and always with the emotions, always with the grasping, clinging, hope and fears. When the enlightenment luxurious, when you discover no shortages, no grasping, no clinging, therefore it's called wisdom luxurious, wisdom displays everything. So the samsara poverty status, instantly we are capturing, discovering the luxurious of the enlightenment, known as kayas and wisdoms, instantly. Therefore, it's so sudden, so quite quickly use the word leaping over, cross over, or jumping over. From samsara, world of the troubles, and to the state of the days, no troubles, no difficulties. That is the kind of brief idea of philosophy of this Toga. Now, where is that luxurious? Where is that luxurious of the enlightenment? That is in the Buddha teaching often said that we went through. This other day when we spoke, when I mentioned, many of you know already that, but however, the nature of the mind, Rukpa, or Tathagata Garba, Buddha nature. Rukpa has 3 qualities. Those 3 qualities are known as 3 wisdoms, or 3 kayas. And what are those? Those Rupa has wisdom of the Dharmakaya, wisdom of Sambhokaya, wisdom of Nirmakaya. Or in other words, if I use simple word, Rupa is embodiment of Dharmakaya, Rupa is embodiment of Sambhokaya, Rupa is embodiment of the Nirmakaya. All 3 kayas within the Rupa. Rupa. So what is Rupa? Again we went, is your innate nature of the mind. Your Rupa, my Rupa, everyone else's Rupa is embodiment of the 3 kaya or 3 wisdoms. How that Rupa, 3 kayas are existing? The Rupa is inconceivable, Rupa is inexpressible, yet can explain in 3 ways. Those are known as the emptiness, energy, I'm translating the energy, and display. Now, emptiness, energy of the Rupa, display of the Rupa, all are within the Rupa. There is no different 3 compartments. All is in all. And the nature of Dharmakaya, that emptiness. Dharmakaya is the emptiness. Emptiness, when we explain of the emptiness or when we go through, that's what we went. Inconceivable, inexpressible, unborn, unceasing. We went through that. We were established the view. When we went through the view, V-I-E-W, view, when we established. View is inexpressible, inconceivable. It's nothing there is tangible, unsubstantial. Openness, our mind is like that. That aspect is called Dharmakaya. So when we meditate Trichu, we maintaining, we beholding that Dharmakaya nature. We maintaining, discovering the quality of the Dharmakaya or emptiness of the mind. That's what we meditated. That is the meditation of the Dzogchen. That is the meditation of the Vipassana. That's the meditation of the egolessness. That's the meditation of the Mahamudra. That's the meditation of the Panchaparamita. That is the meditation of the Trichu. Trichu. We're discovering of that emptiness, that openness, that Dharmakaya. In the Dzogchen teaching, named Dharmakaya. That's the Dharmakaya. Not just in the Dzogchen teaching, really that's the Dharmakaya. So Dharmakaya is not outside or somewhere else. Oh, that is Dharmakaya far distance. Dharmakaya is right here. That's what, right with our own nature of the mind. For that reason, we use the quotations from Gohengarba Tantras. You should not search Buddha anywhere else. If you search Buddha different directions, and at 4 times, never going to find. Nature of one's own mind is Buddha. Enjoy discovery of that. That is the Dharmakaya of that openness status. Of these, the Mahamudra or Dzogchen, Vipassana, is so powerful practices. Powerful practice because why? it is directly antidote of the ego clinging and directly antidote of the grasping, directly the antidote of the duality conceptions. What the duality conception, the ego cling or clinging? We're clinging existing. We hold something. We hold. Mentally supported. We hold, we continually support by our grasping mind. Hold. But reality, there's nothing. We hold everything. Our ideas, our belief, our name, our title, all the structures, thinking everything is so kind of strong, tangible. Mentally created that, and actually there's no one. We created the bubble, and then we hold. Mentally hold. Reality is nothing. There's nothing that exists that the valuable we can hold. So therefore, that is duality, that is troublemaker, that is negative emotion. Then all negative emotions, tools to hold, to grasping. Anger, attachment, jealousy. So those are kind of trying to clinging, holding something that is nothing existing. Make all those emotions. Even emotion itself has there's nothing existing, solid existing. But yet we make all the different emotions and this different kind of judgmentals and continually clinging. So from time we're thinking, time to react, time to maintain, everything is grasping, everything is clinging, everything is emotions. And then it's time we create the karma. Karma. Again, create the karma, imprinted. Reality is emptiness, imprinted. So therefore, true realization of Dharmakaya nature of the mind is so powerful. That is antidote. That is cut. That's why it's called cut instantly, without a trace. It cuts. Therefore, this is so powerful practices. It's Dharmakaya. When we have the quite good stabilization of these two practices, then we practice toggle practice. Toggle practice is the energy of the mind practices. Energy, it is a display. Energy of the mind is what? In the teaching said, clarities. Energy of mind is wisdoms. Energy of mind is loving kindness. Energy of mind is compassion. Those are the energy of the Dharmakaya. Or I use the mind, but energy of the Dharmakaya mind. Love is the energy of the Dharmakaya mind. Compassion is Dharmakaya, or energy of Dharmakaya. And the wisdom wisdoms are energy of Dharmakaya. In fact, there is no different group of those qualities. We named as compassion, loving kindness, wisdom. All is blended in without any separations in the state of the Dharmakaya mind. But that energy arising, the quality arising, is the Dharma, that's called Sambhokaya. That's the richness of the Dharmakaya. That's the rich. That's the luxurious. This luxury has no ending. There's no shortage of love. There's no shortage of compassion. There's no shortage of the wisdoms. And the wisdoms mean intelligence. intelligence and compassion and love all blended in. And then when that reflected more strongly white, and then it's called the Pure Lands. All the luxuries of the enlightenment is display of the quality of the Dharmakayas, and which is known as Sambhokaya. Display of the Sambhokaya. So then what? Everything is enlightened status. The Pure Land, luxurious atoms, sound is Vaishnava display. Forms are Vaishnava display. Taste is a Vaishnava display. Smells are Vaishnava display. And feelings are Vaishnava display. Vaishnava display means no grasping, no clinging, no emotion. It's not karmically produced. It is self-arising energy, clarity of the Dharmakaya. Everything is pure. There is no territories, no limitations, no boundaries, pervasive. In the teaching it said, as far as space goes, that far the quality of the Dharmakaya goes. Richness of Dharma, Sambhokaya goes. Or as far as the space in teaching said, that far the Kaya goes. Kaya, the form of the display. As far as space goes, that far wisdom goes. As far as wisdom goes, that far the light and light goes. So there is no limitations. Sound, richness. That's called Sambhokaya Buddha. Of course, whenever you know Sambhokaya means richness. Richness body, richness state, richness status. There's no end. And now that richness, where is that richness for us? When we are obscured by the Jwade consumption that's self-created by our own self, where is that richness? According to teaching, is in the nature, with the nature of our own mind, or with our rupa. With our rupa. Therefore, in the Dzogchen teaching, or the way, in a Tantra teaching, in a inner Tantra teaching, such as the Mahayoga teaching, said, in the heart center of the individual there is indestructible wisdom is residing with the nature of the blissfulness. Nature of blissfulness. That nature is also pervasive, totally pervasive, and residing as like light. Residing in light. But that light and that quality is what? Shielded by the habit patterns. On our own creation habit patterns. How is that? Use the example as youth, but in the Dzogchen teaching, youthful body in the ways. Youthful, that is a popular word, whenever you know. Pumbaka, inside the vase, there is V-A-S-E, vase. Inside the vase, there is perfectly enlightened beings existing or living, perfectly enlightened beings. What is it that was? Ways. That is duality. That is duality. That is grasping, clinging, that blocked. And that, through the practice of meditation, if we break that vase, or make whole, then light shines more close. And that is a great master. Nagarjuna used example. That wisdom, that original, call it, is in the vase, but if you make one hole, light comes. If you make two holes, two light comes. If you make three holes, three light comes. If you make more holes, more light comes. If you break all that vase completely, that light completely filled with sky, space. That is light. That is Sambhokaya qualities. So now the Dzogchen technique, through Dzogchen technique, Thogal technique, you instantly discover that qualities, which is held by the duality conceptions or vast of duality. You're breaking that through that. So discovery. So that means we discover this enlightened beings has three qualities. The emptiness aspect of Dharmakaya we discover by the Tukku meditation. The clarity energy aspect of the enlightened Dharmakaya we discover by the Thogal practices. So therefore, often teaching said, if you don't have if you are unable to cut thoroughly technique, if you are unable to develop the cutting thoroughly techniques, then leaping over or cross over cannot fulfill exactly is the goal, what you want. So therefore, foundation is the discovery of the Dharmakaya quality of the mind is so important. Once we discover that, a little bit strong, then you can practice Thogal practices, if you like to. To do that, and then I talk with three principles of the Thogal practices. Thogal practice has called principal practice, we practice is pour light, and then with pour light, then it developed four visions. So I go a little bit over each of those, one after another. The first is pour light. A light at L-I-G-H-T. Light, or sometimes translated lamp. L-A-M-P, lamps. So four lamps or four light. Those four light or four lamps, first is called first is called long lasso light of the water bowl. I think that's a roughly translated. Long lasso. Lasso is L-A-S-S-O, I believe. Lasso, long lasso of the water bowl of water bowl. Long lasso or long lamp of a long lasso of the water bowl. Water is water. Bowl is usually B-A-L-L. B-A-A-L. What that means actually is our eye. Mm-hmm. Eye is known as a long lasso of the water bowl light. And now, why actually this light? Light is eye, or all this is light is not outside light, or the lamp is not outside. Is the inner wisdom. Inner wisdom light. That is really is a metaphor, but it is not out light. Outside light, it is inner light. So now, for example, when I see, it's not the eye is seeing, eye is become the instrumental passage to light of the intelligence, the light of the wisdom, self-born awareness comes through eye, and then you see, you catch. So it's not something the eye is brightening up, but actually is our own intelligence, simple word. Another word is self-born wisdom. Rupa. It is a Rupa light coming out of this. And in fact, all these five senses are the windows of the enlightenment. windows of the rupa. Rupa is the ultimate state of light. That rupa, according to Dzogchen teaching, where is reside, I already said, is in our heart center. In our heart center. So, in our heart center, now from the heart center, emanating that different ways, that lights. Particularly, among all the five senses, in the teaching said, the eye senses is the most powerful senses where the light comes. Light catch out, go out or catch. So now, in the toga practices, the eye is very crucial. And the teaching said, from the heart center of the where the primordial wisdom or the rupa is residing, from there, there's a special channel, nerve system, that is not filled with blood and pulse, but very refined, small light, white channel connected to the eye, directly from the heart to the eye status. Or goes up to the hair, back side of this, and come out. Come out, and then you perceive light. So that is the first light. Second light is known as pure light of the pure space. Pure space. Second light. Pure space is outside the sky. Actually, pure space has two parts. Outer space, the inner space. At this time, outer space. Eye is projecting to the outer spaces. In the outer space is fundamentally in the Dzogchen teaching. According to Dzogchen teaching, this external space is a reflection of the rupa. Actually, really, rupa is reflecting, but then we don't kind of recognize that. But reality, outer space is the nature of the rupa, manifested in externally as space. Space. So this time, that is outer space. Space is called Yin Namdaga Drama, or pure space, or clear pure space of the space light, lamp of the pure spaces. So that is a true light, true lamp we discuss. Now, third one is then called third light is empty hollow light of the empty hollow sphere. S-P-H-E-R, I believe, sphere. Empty hollow sphere. Light of the empty hollow space. So that is third light. When you follow the instructions of Thogar and you use that, then in the external space appears as hollow space. Hollow sphere of the sphere. Hollow sphere comes round or whatever formation comes by hollow sphere. That is called the lamp of the hollow space. The fourth lamp is called then self-born awareness light, or lamp of the self-born awareness. Self-born awareness is a rupa. Rupa is actually the best of all those first three lamps. All the first three lamps are actually really best. Is reflections of the of the self-born awareness. That is the rupa, our own rupa, lambs. Lambs. So now these four lambs, when with your instructions, with more postures, those postures, and where you gaze, where you look to the space, then in the space, then it comes. First is hello. Space, many hello space comes. Welcome. And now you're concentrated on that. Hello space comes. Who is looking? By your eye, our own eye. Eye is looking and watching. But when you look into watching that, what is actually, in the teaching said, we should not grasping and clinging. And when you're grasping and clinging and discriminating, then is attachment. Then is grasping. So therefore, should not grasping, clinging. Clinging. So watch the space. There is more details and instructions, and of course, you can receive those things and read in the books and all that. But I'm talking briefly, really brief, simple ones. And those people who know generally receive those teachings, you know more has that. And those people who are not just kind of first time listening, then this is just the only idea, the introduction of that. Toga. But I mentioned when thoroughly about the two practices, and those people who are new, that is what we need. So now when you're watching that, without distracted by our awareness, continue looking to the space. Continually looking to the spaces. Then, in the teaching said, then four visions are developing. Four visions develop. That four vision is here, vision said, but reality is realization. It's not just a vision. Now that vision coming from where? Now is coming from the inherent, that richness quality of the within our own awareness, the rupas quality. Rupas display that. That is really arising, reflecting to the external, coming to the space. And how it is coming? Those are first is the sphere of the sphere, round space. And then if we continually concentrate without the grasping, concentrating, and within the sphere, there is more formation, shapes of the display. Light display comes. Light display comes. Those are different formations. Round, square, rectangle, and all that. And then also kind of like just straight, like straights, or like STICK, I believe, straights, or is it just a kind of upward and horizontally, and the variety displays. At the beginning time, when it comes, our concentration, our tricky wave is not strong, they're not going to stay. They're not going to stay, they're moving. Just like kind of like movie screens. It's really moving fast. But our concentration is strong, it will stabilize. At the beginning time, there is maybe even no, just a gray space. Kind of gray or colorless light, space, colorless, those formations, kind of all that comes. But it was shimmering. And we continually again, then continue meditating, and then those are become a little more stable, and those spaces become maybe 2 or 3 and more, kind of like almost like, and if I use examples, Olympic, those symbols, ranks of the Olympics. Kind of all that comes. That are more stable. When you reach that state, it's called Chunyi Ngonsam, seeing vision of the seeing the true nature exactly as it is. That is. Why is it called true nature? Because it's not externally really tricks of the eye. According to Dzogchen teaching or inner tantra, that is now arising the clarity, quality of our own awareness. Rupa is beginning to shine externally. So those are known as the first stages. Stage of the vision. In the Dzogchen teaching mentioned the four visions, first stages. Now if we continue to meditate, we again follow the instruction, exactly continue meditating. Then come those, now ranks becoming, those space of these visions have become more stable and now begin to develop colors. Colors are actually again in the Dzogchen teaching, and higher than that, of course we see colors, 5 different colors. In the Dzogchen teaching, also in the higher tantra teaching, according to it's not colors are not really actually outside. It's colors of our own awareness. Call it our awareness. Our rupa. Rupa, those all richness of the rupa. Colors are the richness of the rupa. Colors are also known as then the all 5 wisdoms. We heard. They are the 5 wisdoms. Also there are 5 dhyana Buddhas. When you don't have those realizations, then it's just a kind of colors. But reality is self-reflecting image of our awareness or rupa. So now we again see those rings, those shapes are more color, light colors, and which is first begins maybe more white colors, more bright white colors shining. With the rings are become a little bigger and stables. And now we will continue to meditate and practice, follow with the instructions and all that. Then that becomes stronger and stronger. Now more colors are adding. Maybe yellow is coming. Some other colors are beginning to show up those ranks up. Again, continue to practice the meditate without any kind of grasping, clingings, and then begin to see within those ranks the images of the Buddhas, such as maybe Buddha Vajra Sattvas, we say. Image with Buddha Vajra Sattva, maybe first the hair with the Buddha Vajra Sattva, or some figures ever used. But image of the Buddhas coming. And now the colors and all those displays are become more stronger, more bright, more light, and more stable. When the colors are and more kind of Buddha's, the Buddha's body in the teachings, the Buddha's head, or Buddha's kind part of the upper part of the bodies, all those are really begin to show in that space, in the space. And those are known as, when you reach that state, is called second visions. Nyamne kompar, increase. Oh, this is again, I should go here. So here, I think I'm doing this. If you have this page and page 3, so here, and I mean this now this, and so in here in the page 31, and so when the highest of the all path, the third path of the essential dharma, so that is like kind of summaries of the both Trichu and the Togas. And with that, and again, contest of the immense sublime vision, clairvoyance, and magic powers, all those will show up, realization, and those are known as 5 different powers. 5 different powers, power of the eye, power of the ears, power of the power of knowledge. Sorry, this not just the power of knowledge of the eye, power of knowledge of the ear, power of knowledge of the clairvoyance or the mind, and power of knowledge of the flexible or miraculous, and powers of the wisdoms. Those are kind of enlightenment qualities. Those are known as the 5 powers or 5 wisdoms. And also knowledge. All shines come up by the practice of the Tukyu and as well as Toga particularly. And then when you reach those, when you have the stabilizer of the Tukyu practices, then you hear said, this is the path, Toga is the path of the Toga by following the liberation happen swiftly. So then Toga is, once you have the good establishment, good foundations of the Tukyu, then Toga will make faster of realizations in the achievement of the, or discovery of the quality of enlightenment. And here, forceful method of the impure appearance. Impure appearance, forceful method, the impure and of initial consciousness involved with the object. That is explaining of this first vision, which is vision of the seeing true natural exactly as it is. So those space of the rings and space and rings, they are not just a kind of like illusion displays, but reality that is really the inner quality of nature of the mind. So that this comes, and that is also continually said. That is then is continually there, and then is said here. Appears in so that's it. I mean, continually we make initial consciousness liquid, so that all the qualities are coming, arising from inwardly, reflecting externally. And the second is here. Here said the appearance increase in the clear luminosity, then spread out. At that time, then the visions of those images have become more clear, and as I said, that the images of the Buddha Vajrasattva's, all the Buddha appeared the clearly above the head or the upper part of the bodies, and also some clear more colors, more coming, more kind of the white and the yellow, now coming more adding and coming one, and also stables. And then next one is the Rupa is in the middle of the page 32. Rupa is displayed as fully wrapped in mudras, and that is explained here. Here is reaching the peak of the awareness, vision of the reaching the peak of the awareness. This time, now it is in the teachings that we continue to practice and meditate exactly with those like inner outer light, and with the lamp of the long lasso, with the eye, and then those are now growing and developing more light, and you begin to see now on those space, on the full image of the Buddhas. Not just the full image of Buddhas, but also many writings, variety displays, and all Buddhas such as like called 5 Dhyan Buddha, and those Buddhas are union with the consort, and all those images are really arising very clearly, perfectly, and also in the teachings it's just that those space of the light and all that images are not just now limited in the right in front of the space, but it's filled valleys and the mountains. Whole this place is filled with that. That time really that then reaching of the peak of the awareness. Peak of now you will discover the inherent richness of the enlightened beings, that which is within our heart. In the Vajrayana teaching, we heard so many times in the teaching, said, in the heart center, there is all the piece of Buddhas. Every piece of Buddhas, those 100 Buddhas, 42 Buddhas are residing, all 40 Buddhas reside in the heart centers. Now they are reflecting externally. It doesn't mean it's gone from here. It's just displays. And then in the crown chakra, there is 60 about wrath of deities. And that also are reflecting externally. Now, is the image, as like we look into the mirror, we see our mirror images. It didn't mean it's gone from the here, but it's reflecting. The whole valley in the mountains, everything is really become now shimmering. In the teachings, they're not just only you're looking, seeing externally, but all your body become also luminosity, clay, light status. So that is known as reaching the peak of the awareness. You discovering the Sambhokaya qualities quite strongly, reaching that luxurious qualities. And the next one is the when appearance in mind are exalted, they are transcended in the expanse of dharmatas. That is known as fourth visions. Fourth vision is now everything, all discovered, every richness quality of the enlightenment are all we discovered, externally, internally. Now, those displays, visions, are also in the teaching said is merging back the source. Where that source is heart, that one's own awareness. So in it kind of is merging, but is coming back, but reality is not really gone. It's just only kind of like changed different displays. So it's merged to our heart center or to the awareness. Relax. So therefore, that moment in the teaching said that our duality conceptions are completely exhausted. And the visions, therefore, visions are also exhausted, kind of completed. And that moment, that individual is now loving kindness, compassion, wisdom has no boundaries, no limitations. Wisdom is completely pervasive, compassion is completely pervasive, and the body, our own body, is also become as a luminosity. Rainbow body, those are the teachings said, began to see as a light. All the elements and the gross elements are transcendented in a subtle status, subtle wisdom status. All phenomena existing is also transcendent, is a subtle state of the wisdoms. So those are teachings said that by the practice of Thogar, you rapidly develop those will develop if we continue to practice with according instructions, instructions, and with the joy and the devotion and the bodhicitta, then we can achieve. I'm talking here today very briefly of these Thogal practices. And the generally Thoga practice has more instructions, more explanations. And you follow also with the according the instruction of the teachings. First do practice of the Mundo practices, receive proper practices, and keep the courage and commitment, devotion strongly to the teachings, to lineage, bodhicitta, those all really strong. And every practices, without that, realization will not come. Even we see some visions, different things, but it's just only addition of the dualities. It is nothing. For therefore, always in the teaching, Thoga teaching said, it's so important to see the visions of those all visuals, but then it's so important not grasping, not clinging. So when we don't have the good stabilization of the two practice, we easily grasping, we easily clinging, then toggle won't work as toggle leaping over practices. Leaping over practices. And then when you reach this, that if a highest realization, then you reach such as by the practice of Toga as Ringorupa Masambhava, who reached the transcendental wisdom realm of body beyond the death and birth. And the Bhamal Matara, great master Bhamal Matara, is also known as who reached the transcendental wisdom realm of body. Those are all through the practice of the Tichu and the Togal practice in the teaching said, and Ringorupa Masambhava. And as well as Yeshib Choja, and all that. Even if they didn't reach a transcendental wisdom rainbow body exactly, but by practice and meditating, you will get high realizations. And those are high realizations when the people dies or those great masters passed away, their bodies become smaller. And in some degree, those great masters, completely bodies are melted, except the nail and the hair left. Those are the teachings said that. And body becomes smaller as the size of the small things you can put as on the plate. All body is completely gone and left only the hairs and the nails left that, and then become just completely disappeared. Those are also by the practice meditation and the Dzogchen. So there's many different ways. But during that practice, here said again, during the Toga practice or Trikyu practice, both here. And that is page 33. Through all kind of good and bad identity, experience, vision happen and the suffering rise, and you should transfer them all without a hope and fear to the absolute expenses. So when those practice time, even the Trikyu practice, the Toga practice, or meditation practice, as I said yesterday, there's different visions, different those experiences will come up, not always kind of good things, all the different things can come up due to our purification of the karma and the cleansing of all the different kind of obstacles of the previous lives that really they so could come many times, but should not feel bad, should not discourage it, continue practice. Those turbulence go over, then we reach to the free of the old karmic disturbances and free, and you purify that. So that all come. And that is my brief talk about Toggle practices and for today. And I stop here. Thank you, everyone. Okay, thank you. Thank you. And we have some questions, and now we discuss.